Hello everybody, welcome back to Just the Basics, where we are, as ever, playing Factorio 0.16.x, and we have finished up getting the initial startings of our gears going, we've got the initial startings of our circuits going, we've got the first chunk of our bus set up here, and today we're going to be making something that's very much a quality of life kind of necessity, and it's going to make a lot of things go a lot faster, but it's not going to be very efficient. What we are making today is called commonly a mall, or a shopping mall, or a hub, or a depot, or various other things of this kind of sort. And I'm actually going to plan on bringing this quite far down here, because we need to have enough room over here to make red circuits later on. We need enough space up here to make steel later on. And I just need to make sure that I actually leave enough room. How are we doing for pollution? We still haven't reached this group. Okay, that's good. We also haven't reached that group, but that looks to be a single nest, so that's good. You can generally identify the nests by virtue of the large blocks of red. The smaller ones tend to be either individual aliens or occasionally worms, but usually it's just individual aliens, because by sheer numbers they're the most populous by comparison. Okay, so if I hop into here, grab my one there, and bring this down, I can at least get a decent idea of where this will be. Right, so let's say that we put our bus, our little mall, right about round here, conveniently right next to running over an a copper, yeah, I'll get my chemical terms eventually. 2.4 million coal. That's a pity. Okay, I probably am going to want to use that, but that's fine. We can just go off this way. That's fine. We can deal. We can manage. And I was wondering why there was a 1 over that deposit. It's because I'm holding one thing. Okay, that's interesting. That must be part of the render code. Okay, so similar to the other side, there's going to need 4 belts. So let's just bring that down far enough that we can actually pretty much guarantee we'll have the space we need. And then we'll get started. Yeah, that should about do. If that's not enough space, I will eat my power armor, which I don't have. So, please. Okay. So, a mall is basically a very low-grade general manufacturing region where you'll have a bunch of base materials going in, and singular, usually, chests of different things will be stocked by usually just the one assembly machine actually manufacturing it all. And it is more or less built on a 3x3 grid, because that is the exact size, in fact, of an assembly machine. And that also gives you enough room in between the assembly machines to actually get other things going. So we're just going to start by laying this out. And the first thing that we want to be doing with this is actually, believe it or not, making gear wheels. You might wonder, lying, why are you making gear wheels when you already have, like, a whole thing on the bus making gear wheels? And the answer, generally, basically speaking, is, well, if we actually devote them all to using the gear wheels from the bus, almost nothing else is going to get gear wheels. Because gear wheels are an important component of transport belts, underground belts, splitters, and a bunch of other things, which means every time that you use them and then restock from the mall's going to drain them all off the belt. Which is not quite the case for other more niche things like iron or electronic circuits and the like. So we're going to be setting these up, and these are going to be just the start. Do I want to do it this way? That is the question. So yes, the mall will have its own central, actual, functional gear wheel production, and that will ensure that the mall is always able to actually produce enough gear wheels to support itself. Not necessarily anything else, but itself, certainly. And yeah, we are definitely probably going to want to make another one here, so let's just grab that. And 1, 2, 3. There. Okay, that should give us enough room to have everything going there. Now, the very first thing that you want to put in your mall is the thing that will allow you to make the rest of the mall. So, we are going to come to, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just so we have a nice little space in between here to run around and stuff. And then on a 3x3 grid here, we will have in the middle here our regular old conveyor belts, and then on one side we'll have splitters, and on the other side we'll have underground belts, and that's because underground belts and splitters both require transport belts, otherwise known as the conveyors. So having them within reach to actually access one another is particularly important. As you go along, you're going to want to expand. So here would be our next stage of conveyor belts and such, and here would be the final stage. And these are going to be particularly special because they actually require a fluid. But we want to make sure that we have room for that now when we're starting this, because otherwise we're going to have to majorly rework this later down the road. And then I'm just going to put a line here for the next thing that we're going to want to be making a lot of, which is going to be either assembly machines or it's going to be inserters. Quite probably you're going to want to start off having some inserters at the very least, and almost everything comes from using regular inserters here, so you want to have it more or less the same situation here, so inserters in the middle, long-handed, fast, and then fast comes into filters as well as a few more things down the road. So bear that in mind. But anyways, let's get a start on this, and hopefully, let me see, if I actually put this here, and I tell that to make transport belts, then I can actually feed this the materials I need to make basically everything else, once we are able to get some power. So let me just craft that up, and a little bit of zippy, and we'll actually have this running to some extent. Obviously I'm going to have to do this whole thing here, so it's going to take me a little bit. My kingdom for better power. But, oh well, this will do for right now. So what we have either side here is we have a wooden chest, and we're just going to limit that by clicking on this to only have one slot, which means when we're feeding into these other machines, we will only ever care about generating one slot worth of materials. I also realized I kind of hecked up my belts up here, because the green circuits are actually feeding into one too far across in the rankings. Whereas they should actually be along this line. But, well, I can fix that later on. That's not a huge concern. Not a huge issue right now when there's only one thing over here anyways. But, yeah, be careful where your stuff ends up. But, yeah, for right now, it's fine. I can deal. So I need the materials with which to make a few electrical inserters. Which is going to be mostly iron, gears, and circuits. So there we go. And really, I should be building this when I actually have access to the medium power poles. I only have the small ones right now, so you can see my wiring is a bit of a mess, but we're working on it. So if I... let's plug this over here. That is now making wooden... Well, that's now making conveyor belts for us, which is good, because it enables us to make more things and other things. So if we make ourselves a couple of these, we can now assign this to be making splitters, and this to making underground belts, which is also something that we're going to need for this. So we do that, and we give this a little dot of power. There you go. Okay, and now they're both actually feeding in. This, however, requires iron plates, and this requires iron plates and electronic circuits. So our next question is, how do we actually feed all of this in? And also, we actually want to be feeding in our gears into this actual line over here. So let's just grab ourselves a few of these. We're backing up now because the assemblers up here have already obtained their ingredients. And when we're going across here, we actually want to have really something more like a steel chest, which we can't upgrade from an iron chest, but we'll take an iron chest for right now. And just take out that power cable for the moment. So to there, and let's just limit this to one line, because that's more or less all that you'll need, especially considering that we'll be upgrading these going forwards anyways. So there to there, and there. Now later down the line we can replace these with supply chests, which are a special part of the logistics robot system, so you can have your mole manufacture things and then automatically deliver them to you in the field. But it's a little bit on the sluggish side, so we're not going to be doing that anytime soon. There we go. Okay, so now we've got underground belts, which are also going to need to actually skip across like that. So when we actually need these things, we can just ask them to be grabbed off of that line. Right now, though, we're only grabbing them for here. And let's actually put that there, so that we can get it on both sides. But we do still need to get the iron weaving in here. So let's just start by cutting that, like so. And generally speaking, iron and electronic circuits tend to go together quite happily, so we're going to be putting electronic circuits and iron on this side. And that also needs to feed off over here into here. And do we have any more? No, we don't. Okay, let's make some more then. And now it's all happily going. So this will be how it runs, and we're going to want to have probably 2 of these up here as well. But I'm out of materials to make more inserters. What am I lacking on? Iron plates. Who's surprised? You know what? Okay, grab that, grab that, grab that. So many. All that we need. Right. So we bring that up to here. Like that. And we're going to want a splitter down here at some stage, but for right now, we'll settle for just having access to anything whatsoever. So let's just get one there. And does this require? Yes, it does. Okay. Don't know why I had to check. I've already checked that at least once this episode. Okay. So now, if that's working the right way, we can come all the way across here, and ideally we want to be doing this with underground belts so that we don't interfere with the arse of the bus. Let's give you a bunch more there. Also, you probably want to be upgrading your inserters in here over time, because right now these aren't really cutting it. But hey, for right now, it's fine. We'll deal. Okay, so we want here to there. And that's copper, so on here to there as well. This is also copper, so one here to there. And here is where iron is. However, this is the innermost we have isolated as being our restocking, so we don't want to actually be using that section either. But we appear to be out of iron again. Okay. The early days of Factorio. I could, of course, craft a whole ton of conveyor belts on me, but then why would we just, do that when we have the bus? Of course. And our power is definitely taking a beating right now, but we're dealing. We're making progress here. Almost literally, in fact. Okay, so one more step over, and then we'll be in the point where we actually get our iron. To there, okay. So there. We'll want a splitter to actually cut it up. There we go. Do I want that to be another step over? It's probably fine? Question mark? Okay, let's take this and let's follow it down. I'm gonna take this outermost line. That's not actually where it comes back on, but for right now it's a good reference. Okay, there we want to go. And if we very eventually make our way up, then we can get some iron feeding into this. Although I still will have to make that whole, yeah. I'll have to make that whole, 8-bus splitter. There we go, 100, over 100, 126. The mole is already paying for itself, by virtue of making a thing I need right now to make the mole. Okay, so it'll actually be the 4th one out. And it wants to start right there. So do. Hey, this is gonna take me a bit. But oh well. Okay, there we go. One mostly functional chunk of belt. So that's now going to be feeding all of this iron into our mole, and that'll be one of the ingredients that we need to actually get things running down here. So whilst I'm on this little trip, I'm just going to make some more assembly machines. Which requires gears, funnily enough. I'll be honest, I have no idea how long this video is going to end up being. Because there's going to be, I imagine, more than a few parts where I'm just zipping about and making sure everything is, like, put in place without quite talking about every single step that I've done. But we'll get there. Oh boy, will we get there. Okay, set this to gears. And give it a few helping hands. Okay, that's the start of gears going in there, which will feed into our conveyors. Hooray! So we can see this is now actually being fed, and that is also being fed, and now that's going into there, and hey, we've got conveyor belts and underground belts automated. Beautiful, beautiful. Not remotely done, but it's a start. So, you're I hope, beginning to get the picture here, although this is a mess, wiring-wise. But, we're working on it, we're working on it. And usually I have to, like, iron on both sides, just because it makes things easier. But it is generally better to have just the one, so we'll be changing that up. Let's just get a little bit more done. Yeah, we're also going to want that on this side as well. Which again is where better power poles comes in very handy. But we don't have such a luxury right now. But at least we have actual meaningful production of things. And again, you might wonder why bother doing this so it's not going to actually be, like, ratio correct or anything like that. And the answer is, it's more of a... this is mostly a convenience thing. This is mostly built so that you don't have to worry about crafting something when you just now run out of it, and you don't necessarily have the ingredients on hand and all that. This is just so that you have a space that you can absolutely come to and absolutely guaranteed find the thing that you need. So, case in point. Just a ton of transport belts. So let's see, go to there. Bring it all the way up. To the place where we are currently erroneously generating all of our circuits. But it's progress. I'm just going to stand on the belt as well to give me a little bit of boost of speed. Okay, so here we want to actually break off our green circuits so that we can get them going into there, so we can get the splitters made, because as you can see, we're needing quite a few splitters as we're going forward. So we're just going to break those off there. Include ourselves a little cut there, just so we don't interrupt our red circuits later on. And that'll get green circuits going into here, and we need to put that through this way. Generally speaking, depending on the ratios of whatever it is you're trying to feed, you just want to have a belt You can weave it using different levels of belts, but for the most part, you can just send in a whole belt a lot of the time. And just as with the iron over here, we're going to be wanting to split this off. That does mean that we're going to get diminishing returns as we go along, but that's partially why we have the really important stuff at the start here, and partially just, that's just something you deal with when you're making a mole. So, yeah, don't worry about it too much. And it does end up being a little bit higgledy-piggledy, but don't worry about it too much. Okay, and just stick that there. That can continue on, and just like we were doing with our belt, we'll be jumping over this with some undergrounds. So we can then have a sort of mini bus over here for the actual feeding of all of the stuff into here. Beautiful, beautiful. And I'm actually gonna shift that over. Get rid of that just because it's bugging me a little bit. And a lot of people like to tile over their moles. Yeah, I probably will later on down the line. I don't tend to do actual, like, tidying up and flooring and stuff until I actually have most things in place and not likely to move. And things here aren't likely to move, but, you know, it's not a huge priority. It doesn't need to be neat and tidy. The main thing that you need to actually keep in mind is just the spacing of the different assembly machines, and knowing what things feed then on into different things, so that you can actually make sure you don't necessarily have to rewire them and manufacture them twice in the mall going forwards. But let me see, making of these is gears, plates, and electronic circuits, so it's quite fine to have over here. What am I missing to make it? Gears. What convenience then that we have them being made right here. And how many do I need for that? Probably quite a lot more than I'm currently carrying. But we can fix by just grabbing some iron. There we go. So plonk that there, tell that to be making assembly machine 1s. 1, 2, and 3. Tell that to be making assembly machine 2s, because that feeds into them. And same things, same materials, so we can just take that, plunk that there, and we'll know that we can do that. And we are not liable to ever want to use assembly machine 1s, so for that we're just going to use a wooden chest, limited to 1, and then take all of our gubbins, our well-earned gubbins, and move them on down this way. It's kind of slow, because we only have 2 machines making actual gears, and there's a fair few things that are using them right now. But, yeah, we're working on it. We're working on it. And that's a bit backed up, so... Also, we have power issues, which are another thing we'll need to worry about later on. Now here, we're right by the belts. We're actually just going to grab them like so. And, like so. Nothing here actually needs to cross over, but we'll just have it there for convenience sake. And there and there, and this takes the exact same materials, so the exact same setup will be just fine. No power yet, of course. And let's have a couple of long-handed inserters to grab the electronic circuits directly off the belt here. Long-handed inserters we haven't touched much, but they are basically a free long inserter, so they take things from here and they put it to over here. I am being very specific with where my mouse is, because they do not feed into things that are right here, nor do they take from anything that's right here, which makes them handy when you're actually trying to nestle belts. And I think we are actually going to need to make a few more assembly machine 2s here. At least 2, just so we can get a bit more going. Oof, but yeah, power is not happy. And something you may have noticed is that when power gets low, not terribly unlike the burner inserters when they're running out of fuel, the electric inserters start to slow down. So power will be a thing that we have to deal with relatively soon. And I'm glad I made them all over here, because it's actually better for us with the pollution. Let's grab a few lights just so we can see a little bit of what's going on here. And just gotta put a bit of spacing here so we can stick a light. It's not getting power, but it's a light. Is there anywhere else I can put a light here? Out there? It should do. Again, it's gonna be a mess for right now, but at least we'll be able to see it. It's a mess, but at least it's a visible mess. And right there, too. Okay, and this is actually going to want an iron chest, because we will actually be using it. But let's also limit that to, at least for right now, we're just going to limit that to 1. Because there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be wanting that. But okay. We just need to pull electronic circuits down this way. Don't have any crafted right now. Oh boy. It's fine. We're nearly there. We've nearly got assembly machines going. We've got conveyors going. We've got undergrounds going. We've got splitters going. We're nearly done for starting this whole ordeal. And there they go. Into there. It's working very, very slowly, but there we go. Okay, processing into there. And there we are, our very first assembly machine 2 made purely by the mole. Haha. So, evidently, next time we're going to be putting our power up. Oh joy. Power means pollution, everybody. But hey, that's a start. So with that, hope you all enjoyed, and I'll catch you all as ever next time.